Okay. Okay, let's start with the question. To swap the private data members of class 1 and class 2 using friend function, right? So they have clearly said that we have two classes, right? One is class 1. One data member is with class 1. Let me say int x, right? And yes, then let me take a function, right? Let me say it's void get, and in the void get, let me input the value of x. Similarly, I have another class which is class 2, right? And then again, I have a private data member which is int y public void get. That is it. Sorry. And let me take the input for y in this particular function, right? So these are the two classes that we need to create. Then again, we need to have a function which is used to swap the data. So void swap, right? And in the swap, what we need to do, I need to swap the data, which is temp equal to x equal to y, and y equal to temp. That's what we need to do. We need to swap the data, right? And last we have a main function. In the main, I need to create the objects of class 1 and class 2, right? So let me say class 1 C1 and C1 dot get I'll call so that I can get the value for x, right? Then it will be class 2 C2 and then C2 dot get, right? This you can have the same name in different classes. Why? Because here the scope will be different, right? So compiler will be able to comprehend with the type of the object that okay, this get belongs to class 1 and this get belongs to class 2. So yes, you can have same name for function here, all right? Then again, I need to swap two data, right? I need to swap the data members, right? So what do I need to do? I need to pass the parameters C1 and C2, right? That's what we will do. This is a global function, and when it is a global function, you need to pass the parameters as such, C1 and C2. So if you're passing the parameters, you need to receive that too, right? Class 1 C1 and class 2 C2. That's what we will do, right? Here, this belongs to C1 object, right? X belongs to C1 and Y belongs to C2. Same, X belongs to C1 and Y belongs to C2. So these are the changes that you will make here, right? Acha. Now, because I have to make the changes in the original variable, can I receive the reference here? क्या यहाँ पे reference receive कर सकते हैं? Yes, right? Because I need to swap the content in the original objects. Do you understand this? Right? So I'll pass these objects by reference. Right? So reference में यहाँ तो कोई change आएगा ना? This still remains the same. Right? But again, X and Y, these are the private data of the classes, right? So these cannot be accessed in global function, right? So what do I need to do? I need to declare this function as friend. So friend void swap, right? Class 1 ampersand, comma, class 2 ampersand, right? And same thing will be written in the other class also, which is class 1. So both of the classes will contain this declaration along with the keyword friend. Now that means swap is a friend of class 1 as well as class 2. That means it has the access to the private data. Is this clear to everyone? Right? Now after uh, swap, you can print the value of x and y. अच्छा वो भी यहाँ से print नहीं होगा, right? So I need a display function as well. या swap से ही print कर दो उसको. Let me for now print from here itself from swap. So c1 dot x, right, and c2 dot y. यहीं पे print कर देती हूँ for now. But if you print it from the main also or any display function, that will also be valid, right? Now let me execute this. कहाँ करी गड़बड़? कहाँ गड़बड़ कर दी मैंने? Oh, okay. You need to give the forward declaration also, right? Class 2. Why? Because we are using this class 2 inside class 1 also, है ना? इसका object जब pass करना है, right? Because we are using the reference, the name of class 2 here, I need to give the forward declaration as well. एक ये गड़बड़ थी और कहाँ है गड़बड़? कोई और है? Let's see. Now it's fine, है ना? I forgot to mention the forward declaration. That's why it was giving an error, right? But again, as we know, because I'm making a call to or I'm referring to the class 2 in the class 1 itself, so forward declaration is necessary, right? So first is the value of x and second is the value of y. And when I enter, you can see the value has been swapped. Is it clear? अच्छा, और क्या क्या कर लिया था फ्रेंड्स फ्रेंड फंक्शन में? हैव वी डिस्कस्ड अबाउट फ्रेंड क्लास आल्सो? कर लिया था ना सारा कवर, फ्रेंड क्लास एंड data member as a friend, sorry, member function as a friend, all those things we have covered, right? करो याद. Are we done with friend class? Why we are using ampersand and void swap? See, the question here says that I need to exchange the original content, है ना? उसने मुझे ये बोला कि original content change करके दो, right? You need to swap the data. The question was you need to swap the private data. That means you have to change the original content. तो अगर call by value करूँगी, if I call it by value, can I say the changes will remain only here within swap function? है ना? तो अब क्या होगा? Now let me say I have another function which is void display, right? ठीक है, यहाँ पे मैंने कर दिया cout x. Okay, this is the original space where x was declared. Similarly, let me write this function inside the class 2 also, and this is y. ठीक है, और अब main से call करो, call it from the main. This is c1 dot display, right, and then c2 dot display. तो अब क्या होगा? The changes will even be reflected here in the original copy, right? देखो, अब कोई भी वैल्यू एंटर करो, this is for x, this is for y, है ना, पहले हमने x डिस्प्ले कराया था, बाद में y कराया था. You can see still the data is changed in original as well. That's why call by reference. Is it clear now? Yes, now tell me, are we done with the friend class as well? क्या होगा? अच्छा, let me see. Okay, so let's cover friend class now. Before that, can I do something like this? Can I do something like this? Let me say this swap function is not a global function, right? But the swap belongs to class 2 itself. Is that possible? क्या अब ये x की वैल्यू को एक्सेस कर सकता है? Is it possible for swap now to access the value of x? अब y तो इसी का अपना member हो गया, right? Y belongs to this particular class itself. What about x now? क्या ये possible है? How? How is this possible? Now, if I look at it carefully, this is the data member of class 2, right? This is the data member of class 2, right? And it is possible for a member function to uh, access the private data of another. How? If it is declared as friend. ठीक है, अगर वो फ्रेंड डिक्लेयर्ड है तो ये चीज पॉसिबल है आपके लिए, देन इट इज पॉसिबल फॉर यू टू एक्सेस. हाँ, बट इसमें सिंटेक्स की प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है ना, देयर कुड बी द इशू ऑफ syntax which we need to take care. So instead of c1, I'll write here c2 dot swap and I'll pass c1 as parameter. Do you agree? C2 dot swap and c1 will be passed as the parameter, right? And now because swap function है तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा, I need to declare swap as friend, है ना. तो इस बार ऑब्जेक्ट किसका पास होगा, the object of only class 1 will be passed. And which swap am I talking about? I'm talking about the swap which belongs to class 2. So what will I write here? Class 2 scope resolution swap. Do you understand this thing? Right? This time swap is not global, but this is the swap which is written inside class 2. So what will I write? Class 2 scope resolution swap. Clear? अच्छा, अभी भी let me check, हो सकता है कोई गड़बड़ आए इसमें. Let me check first, है ना. Hmm. So here, few things you have to take care when you're writing down the member function as a friend, right? तो पहली चीज क्या है? Again, because in class one, I was writing this keyword friend void class two swap class one. अब swap function कहाँ declared है? This is declared inside class two, right? So what do I need to do? I need to write down this class first. ताकि कंपाइलर को पता चले कि swap function you will find out somewhere in the program. Do you understand this point? The very first thing that you need to take care is whenever you're declaring the member function as friend, तो जिस class में वो member function है that should be declared first. Do you understand this? अब यहाँ पे क्या है? I'm making swap. Swap is the member function of class 2. So what do I need to do? I need to declare this class 2 first. Clear? नहीं तो क्या कर रहा है ये? Error देता है. I hope you understand this point. Why so? Because we need to tell the compiler that yes, you will find class 2 somewhere, you will find swap function somewhere, right? तो उसके लिए मुझे class 2 की declaration पहले देनी पड़ती है. Have I made my point clear here? Yes, class. ठीक है, so इस तरीके से काम करता है. Now when I execute, you can see it's asking for the values. So if I give 4 and 7, whatever the values are swapped to 7 and 4, right? Take a minute with this code, and if there is any issue you can let me know. ठीक है, ऊपर नीचे करके देखो, you'll find errors, right? So order is also important when you're writing the friend function. The class which whose member function will become the friend, that class needs to be declared first. ठीक है, और उसमें भी declaration यहाँ पे भी है. The definition is given later here, right? So if you change the order, that's going to give you an error. Take a minute with this code. If there are still issues, please let me know. When you're done, please let me know so that we can move forward. So this is how we make member function as friend, right? Member function of one class as friend to another. Shall we move forward now? Take care. Now, let's talk about the next thing, which is friend class, right? The next one is friend class. ठीक है, अब friend class क्या होती है? Let me say I have a class A, right? And this class A has data members X. यहीं पे initialize कर देती हूँ. Let me initialize it to 8, right? Now, let me say I have another class which is class B, right? This has another data member which is y, and I have a function which is void get, right? Get function मैंने इसके अंदर define किया, and I need to input the values of, चलो यहाँ पे initialize नहीं करते, let's say I need to input the values from here, right? C in uh, x and C in y, right? So within this function itself, I'm trying to access the value of x and y. Is it possible? Can I access this thing here? Right? No. Why? This is going to give me an error saying that x is private. Do you agree with me? Right? तो यहाँ पे क्या error आ जाएगा? This is going to give me an error saying that x is private. चलो. फिर भी let's just move forward, and this is A, the object of first class. This is B, the object of second class, right? And I'll call the get function with the help of these objects, and let me pass the object A here, है ना? इसी तरह से करोगे because get function doesn't know what the uh, where is this x from. So this x belongs to object A, right? But as I said, still this is going to give me an error because x is private. So what do I need to do? I need to give the access of x to this class, which is class B. है ना? यही करना है. I need to give the access of the private data of class A to class B. So what will I do? What will I write here? I'll write here as friend class B. इससे क्या होगा? Each and every member of A will now be accessible anywhere inside the class B. Do you understand this thing? इससे क्या होता है? जो private data है class A का, the private data of class A is accessible anywhere inside class B. है ना? तो ऐसे ही display function भी हो सकता है. I can also have a display function here now, right? And in display, let me write cout a dot x and cout y, right? So because display also doesn't know what is a, so I'll pass the object here. So this is b dot display and pass the object a inside. Now when I execute, you will see, अच्छा मैंने libraries नहीं दी हैं, right? So I need to include the libraries as well using namespace जी. So you'll see now it is working absolutely fine. तो कोई भी value आप दो for x and y, it's going to display. ये क्या कर दिया? अच्छा, because I was passing it by call by value, so it has given me garbage value, है ना? क्योंकि कॉल बाय वैल्यू से पास कर रहे थे तो ओरिजिनल ऑब्जेक्ट में चेंज नहीं हुआ, इसलिए गार्बेज दे दिया. सो बेटर यू कैन राइट इट हियर एज ampersand, right? So when you write ampersand, it will give you the correct answer. Now any value you write, it will display. Is it clear? अच्छा, एक और चीज मुझे पूछना है. कैन आई यूज द वैल्यू ऑफ y इनसाइड a? क्या मैं यहाँ पे कुछ लिख सकती हूँ? लाइक let me say I have another function which is fun function, right? And I try to access b dot y here. Is it possible? Is it possible to write any such thing here, b dot y? तो यहाँ से let me say मैंने पास कर दिया. क्या ये चीज possible है? Will it execute fine or will it give an error? Why will it give error? क्यों देगा ये error? Because A has said that B is my friend, but क्या B ने ऐसा बोला है? B has not said it, right? ठीक है, B ने नहीं बोला कि A मेरा friend है, A is the only one saying that B is my friend. ठीक है, तो जहाँ पे friend keyword यूज किया है सिर्फ उसी के data members यूज कर सकते हो. It is not vice versa. It doesn't work like that. Do you understand my point? दोनों तरफ से work नहीं करता, right? If you have to make this possible, so you need to write additional thing inside B, which is friend void सॉरी फ्रेंड क्लास ए. तो ये चीज यहाँ भी स्पेसिफिकली आपको मेंशन करना पड़ेगा, राइट? You need to mention this in both the classes if you want to access it alternatively. Otherwise ये चीज possible नहीं है. I hope this is clear, right? This thing is only valid if the B has also declared A as his friend, but क्योंकि इसने नहीं किया, so this is going to give you error. This is not valid in this case, right? Again, take a minute with this. The code is in the chat box. देख लो इसको. अच्छा, क्या एक क्लास बहुत सारी क्लासेस की फ्रेंड हो सकती है? Can this B class be a friend to other classes as well? Like C, D, कितनी मर्जी classes ले लूँ मैं, is that feasible? Yes, right? So you can have a function which is friend to any number of classes. You can have a class which is friend to any number of classes. तो उसमें कोई लिमिट नहीं है, ठीक है? कितने भी मर्जी क्लासेस का आप फ्रेंड बना सकते हो, चाहे वो मेंबर फंक्शन है or it is a global function or it is a class, right? So that can be friend to any number of classes that you want, right? So now the only topic we are left with is constructors and destructors, right? तो कल हमारे पास 3 lectures हैं, right? We'll try to complete it as soon as possible, and then half an hour, 40 minutes will keep for the MCQs, right? वो तुम्हारी speed पे भी depend करता है. अच्छा, another thing which I want to ask you, do you know what are access specifiers? Access specifiers पता है क्या होते हैं? If I talk about this public, what is this? Right? There is something called access specifier. Right? Access specifier. तो कितने तरीके के access specifier होते हैं? We have 3 types of access specifiers used in C, right? One is public, right? One is private, the other one is protected, right? Private, public and protected. ठीक है जी. तो पब्लिक हमने देखा, पब्लिक मीन्स accessible anywhere in program. There is no limit, right? Anywhere in program, right? That can be main, that can be global function, that can be any other class. So anywhere inside a single program the public members can be accessible. So all we need to do is to write this public keyword public colon int a, right, int b. So both these data members will become public. That means they are accessible anywhere inside the program, right? Second one is private. We have already seen private as well. Private means only within the class, right? Only within the class, और बाहर कहीं भी accessible नहीं होते, not even in the main, right? And last one is protected. Protected means जिस class में defined है, right, there it will be accessible, and along with that in the inherited classes, right, inherited या हम जिसको बोलते हैं sub classes, right? So that's an entire topic that we are going to study further, inheritance. तो inheritance में जो हम use करते हैं, that is called protected access specifier, right? Now if you look at this, uh, yes, to inherit data from one class to another, right? ठीक है, तो अब जो एग्जांपल हम ले रहे, वन वी हैव टेकन ऑन द कंपाइलर, सो हाउ मेनी एक्सेस स्पेसिफायर्स, टू, ठीक है, इसमें दो एक्सेस स्पेसिफायर्स यूज किए थे हमने, right? One is private. When you have nothing written in front of it, by default it is what, each and every data member of the class is going to be private, right? So if you specify this or you don't specify this, it is by default what, private, right? Then the second one is public that we have used here, this. Now, why here is private? After that, I have written public keyword. ठीक है, तो इसके बाद जितने भी क्लास के members होंगे, each one of them is going to be what, public. Do you understand this? If you after you write this public keyword, anything that follows is going to be public. तो इसके बाद अगर मैंने कोई डेटा मेंबर भी लिख दिया, लेट मी से int z equal to 90, so this is also what, public, and that will be accessible from the main. तो अगर मैं लिखूं b dot z, right, so it is not going to give me any error. ठीक है, क्यों? क्योंकि ये क्या है, पब्लिक डेटा मेंबर है, राइट? सो यू कैन सी इट इज एग्जीक्यूटेड विदाउट एनी error. But what about protected? So for writing protected, what do I need to do? For writing protected, oh, all I need to do is to write the keyword protect. Am I audible? Yes. So last thing I was saying, when you want to convert it into protected, this is how you will write protected int z, right? Now I'm using z in main. Now if you execute this, right, this is also going to give you an error. Why? Because bz is protected within this context. Okay, so protected जो होता है, the protected can only execute within the derived class. So we have not yet created any derived class. How we will create the derived class, how it is used, that's the next thing that we will study. Clear? Right? So this is how it works, right? If it is private, within the class. If it is public, anywhere in the program. And when it is protected, only inside the subclasses. I hope this is clear.